Hello friends, and welcome to this crochet tutorial where I'm going to show you how to make the berry bee potato monster. Now everything you see here is no sew except for the black line on the face. So we will create this whole thing with no separated crochet on pieces. It's all done on one piece. How, you ask? Well, you need to come and join me and I will show you how to do this step by step. Now, this is going to be a little challenging because of the various color changes. So if you're a beginner, I really encourage you to be patient with yourself, but you must have some crochet knowledge. I'm going to show you the stitches that we're going to do so that it's not going to be hard, but this will be a little challenging if you're new to crochet. For those who've been experienced to crochet and some of the other stitches like double crochet or treble crochet, you will find that this is not that difficult, but that we will use the double crochet and the treble crochet a few times in this process. We're also going to do a double crochet cluster, and we're going to do a set of trebles for the wings and a set of double crochets for the ears. So come join me. Let's go ahead and make this berry bee potato monster together. Let's get started. So some of the things we're going to use: white yarn, yellow yarn, black yarn, and for my wings I did not use white. I used, it's kind of a lightish gray. This is Bernat Blanket in frosting, and it's a grayish color. And the main body of our potato monster is the brown. So the tools we'll be using is your stitch needle or yarn needle. I use a 7mm crochet hook for the blanket yarn that I'm using. Now take note, you can use any yarn you choose. The eye size I have is 30mm. I painted these eyes. I did make a tutorial on showing you how you can paint your own eyes and how to order the eyes through AliExpress. And we will also need a pair of scissors. Now, something I forgot to show you with the safety eyes is that this is a cup safety backing. These go on really tight, and we will be using a safety eye helper. This one I got from Snowy Aspen Creations. There are other places that make it, but what I like about hers is that there's various sizes, many of them, and it's solid wood and it fits nicely. You'll notice the size of the groove on the back will fit in this one right here, and you will need it to help push that safety eye in with the blanket yarn, because even though this cups in, it's still going to be kind of tight with the blanket yarn between the eye and the inside of the cup. My yarn that I'm using here is from Ogo. It's Yarnspirations. It came as a giant donut. I like this yarn because it won't frog. When you pull the center out, it won't frog. I really like that. But I also really like this color. So before we start any project, I always like to encourage you to pull out some extra yarn so that way you can maintain your tension as you go along. And as you go through the creating of this, when your yarn gets close to your skein, you want to pull out some more so that way you're not constantly tugging and pulling. to maintain the same tension that we have as we go around. So let's get started by placing a slip knot on our hook. So we're going to start off with a short tail here. Take it, you can wrap it around your fingers so that you have like this X. So I went around, and then you can take your hook and go under that loop and take the hook and pull that the yarn through that was on top, and then just hold both of them and pull, and that knot will tighten up. And then we're going to pull it up to our hook, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So to begin, let's start with a chain of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now you notice that we have one loop on our hook. We do not want to count that. It is not a completed stitch. The next one next to our hook is completed, so we're going to skip that one. And in the next one, we're going to go ahead and use the back bumps. We have our V's on the front and these little bumps on the back. We're going to pick up the second one. So here's our first one, here's our second one, and here's our first single crochet. So we pulled up a loop, yarn over, threw both on our hook, and we are going to use a stitch marker. The stitch marker will help us to show what is the first stitch of the row we just finished. So we have one single crochet. Let's place a second one in that same stitch. So we just did an increase. 2 single crochets in one stitch equals an increase. So let's continue on with the 5 next bumps down our chain, and we're going to place 1 single crochet per bump. So here's 1, 2. Sometimes it can be a little tricky, especially with the blanket yarn. Here's 3. Now if you're wondering why I choose to use the bumps, is because you'll notice that it'll pull on one side, but it'll also pull on the other side. A lot of times when you use either the top or the bottom, it can pull it out too much and you'll have like an open gap, and we don't want that. So here's my 5th one. Now in this last stitch, we're going to be placing 4 single crochets, but I'm going to show you how I do it so that we don't have this big open hole here at the end. So let's place 2 underneath the bump, because you know the last stitch has a front and a back. So here's 1 and here's 2. So now we're going to take the tail, and you notice where our knot is. We're going to bring the tail to the back, and here's the front side of that stitch. We just used the back hump. So let's place 2. Now when we insert our hook, we want to make sure our yarn is on the inside. Now if you're left-handed, it's still going to be on the inside of the knot here, because if it's on the outside of the knot, it's going to help make that hole show. So here we pulled up a loop. Our yarn is on the right side or the left side of that knot. So here we finish off our first single crochet, and in that same stitch, 1 more single crochet. Okay, you'll notice you'll catch me tugging and pulling. That's to help make sure that my tension is correct, because sometimes you can pull a loop through and your tension and your stitch height aren't correct. We want to try and make them correct. So especially in the beginning, it can be off just a little. So here we're going to do 5 single crochet over the next 5 stitches. So we're picking up the 2 of the front of those V stitches because we're going down the other side of the chain. So here's 2, 3, 4, whoops, and I knocked my stitch marker out, and 5. Okay, and in this very last stitch right here, we're going to place 2 single crochets. Now I know where my first stitch is, so hopefully your stitch marker didn't fall out either. Okay, when you get to the end, go ahead and give it a nice little tug. It doesn't hurt because you know that anytime you crochet something, when you first put it together, it's going to feel like it's a little stiff. So this completes our first row. I'll place my stitch marker back in, and then we'll be ready to move on to our second. So you see I changed my stitch marker, so the color is going to be a little off. Okay, so remove our stitch marker. You can place your fingers there to make sure you have the right space. Let's place 2 single crochet in that one space. So here's our first. Replace your stitch marker, reminding yourself that that's the first stitch of the next row. And in that same stitch, another single crochet. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next one, and we're going to do an increase. Remember, we have 2 single crochets in one stitch is an increase. So let's increase in our next stitch. My hook is going to be making all kinds of noise, so just bear with me, okay? I think it's because my hands are sweaty and the oils have gotten on it. No matter how hard I've cleaned it, it still seems to want to squeak. Sorry. So over the next 5 stitches, we're going to place 1 single crochet. So 5 single crochets. Four, and here's number 5. Okay, so over the next 4 stitches, we're going to place an increase. So we're going to do 4 increases. Here's our first increase. Our second. Think of your hook, if it does squeak, as singing to you as you crochet. May not have words, but try to be positive about it. Okay, so here's our 4 increases. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now down this side, 5 singles. So 5 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you should have 2 stitches left. And we're going to place 2 increases. So here's one, and here's our second one. Okay, and this is what we have to complete our second row. On this row, we're going to be adding the feet. So let's remove our stitch marker and place an increase in the next stitch. Be sure to mark your first stitch of those 2. In our second stitch, an increase. Our next stitch, 1 single crochet. So in the making of our feet, we're going to start off with a chain of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We're going to count back 3 stitches. Turn your chain over. We're not going to be doing in the back humps. We're going to be placing 5 double crochets into this 3rd chain. So to do a double crochet, place your finger on the loop, yarn over, insert your hook into that 3rd chain. Now I'm going to be picking up, I'm going to skip over these 2, and so on between the last one and the middle one, I'm going to insert my hook. I'm going to draw up a loop. Okay, so yarn over through 2 loops on your hook, and then yarn over and through the last 2 loops on your hook. So you should have this so far. Now in that same space right here, we're going to place 4 more double crochets. So finger on the loop, yarn over, insert your hook into that same hole, the 3rd chain, draw up a loop. Remember to fix your tension in your loop size. Yarn over through 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over through the last 2 loops. Okay, this will be our 3rd one. Your finger on the loop, yarn over through that same hole, draw up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Okay, so we have 3. Let's do 2 more. I'm not going to say what to do this time, so you can follow if you forget. And don't forget, you can always rewind your video in case you need some additional help. Okay, so once we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, take the loop that's on your hook and make it longer, and take your hook out, and then look back at your stitches here and count back to the first one. This is the chain. We don't want that. We want this first one. So on the right side, insert your hook into the 2 lines right next to the top of that hook. Put your hook into the loop again, tighten it up, and then just pull the loop through the top of the stitch there. We don't want to make this too long, so leave it if it's kind of snug. Turn your work. We're going to immediately go under the chain, draw up a loop, yarn over through 2 loops on the hook. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Okay, so we want to count back 1, 2, 3, 4. So on your 4th chain here, we're going to go through and place a single crochet. We're going to go down to the next chain, 1 single crochet, one single crochet in the 3rd one, and 1 single crochet in the 4th one. Okay, so here's our last stitch. We want to go to the next stitch. This is our first after we did our leg. So here's 1, and we would like to do 7. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, this is what we have so far. We have not completed the row yet, but I'm going to pull some more yarn out because I need to. So go ahead and pause the video and pull some more yarn out if you need to also. So I've inserted my hook and I tightened the loop, and we're going to do the same thing we did over here. So let's chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Let's turn our loop. We're going to do 5 double crochets in the 3rd chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, yarn over, insert our hook, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Let's continue on with 4 more double crochets. Okay, and this is the 5th one. Okay, and then we twist it and open it up. Insert our hook into the first stitch. Bring the loop in, tighten it up. Go through that first area opening. Then slide down if you need to make sure it's on track. Single crochet around the chain stitch. Okay, and then count back 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So in that 4th one, do 1 single crochet. Here's our 4th one. Okay, so here's our 2nd foot done. Now this is our last single crochet before we did the chain. So the next stitch, okay, we did this stitch, so we want to go into this stitch and continue with 1 single crochet around for 16 single crochets. When you get to the very last one, oh, that's not on this row, never mind. So 16 single crochets. I'll meet you at your stitch marker. So this is what we should have at the end of this row. So moving on. In this row, we're going to go around and we're going to bring our foot forward, and then we're going to skip over it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Take out your stitch marker, place 1 single crochet in that stitch, and we're going to continue with 1 for each of the next 4 stitches. So this is a total of 5. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, because our first one had the stitch marker in it. So when you get here, bring your foot forward and then pull it to the side, and you'll notice that here's your first single crochet, and here's the last of that chain. So let's go ahead and insert our hook face down to pick up that loop or the next stitch, and draw up a loop, yarn over and go through both loops on the hook. So for this section here, we're going to do 7 single crochet. We just did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so bring that foot forward. We're going to come over here. Here's our next single crochet. Let's insert our hook into that next stitch. Okay, we completed 1 single crochet. You're going to also notice that it's going to curl up. Continue with a total of 16 till you get to your next stitch marker, and I'll meet you there. So we're going to use our scissors now and bring it down about 4 inches and cut your brown yarn. Go and pick up our yellow yarn here. So what we're going to do on this very last stitch, we're going to take our hook out and we're going to go back to those 2 stitches or 2 loops that were on our hook and pull out the loop that completed the stitch. Take that and bring it forward, and with a little tail, just place your hook on the yarn and pull it through. I'm going to snug that up a little bit, go over the yellow yarn, okay, in your first stitch, 1 single crochet. Okay, and also snug up these lines that may seem loose so it'll be firm right through here. Okay, so this row we're going to do 1 single crochet per stitch around. So you should have 28 single crochets. I encourage you to count, and I'll meet you here where we will change our color to black. Okay, I've completed 26, so I'm going to show you how to do a color change easier. Here's 27. So for the last stitch, you're going to draw up a loop, bring your yarn forward, cut yourself a 4-inch tail, bring in your next color. In this case, it'll be black. Have a little tail over the hook and bring it through those last 2 loops on your hook. Snug up the yellow yarn, bring it over, it's cumbersome, but once you get the hang of it, it's not that bad. It's the end result that we're looking for. Okay, so in our next stitch, and you can bring all your tails with you and cover it and lock it in with that next single crochet. So in this row, we're going to do 1 single crochet per stitch for a total of 28 single crochets around. Now if you want to jump ahead, you can do the yellow, because the next row is, no, the next row we add wings, never mind. But you can start your yellow if you beat me to it. So this row is 28 black, and we will have a color change at the very last stitch into yellow. So I've done 27 in this row. Let's do number 28 and our color change. Okay, snug up that last black loop and bring it over the top of our yellow. All right, so we are going to do 21 single crochet. So we're going to go 21 single crochet and I will meet you back in this area here where we will start our wings for our bear bee. Okay, so my next stitch is number 21, so we will complete number 21. Okay, bring your yarn to the front and then have your wing color yarn out. Have a little tail, and we're going to bring it through that loop on the hook, and let's tighten it up. Okay, so now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now before we start the stitching and everything, I want to show you where the stitches is going to go. You see the one going across and see the one going up and down? I would like for you to insert your hook between those two right there. This is where all of our treble stitches are going to be going in the making of this wing. And we're going to be placing 5 trebles into this same space right here. Do not cut the yellow, okay, because we're going to use that when we continue on. So to make a treble stitch, place your finger on the loop on your hook, yarn over 2 times. Okay, 1, 2. So here's the loop and 2 times over. So place your finger on top of all those loops and then go through just the top. So here's the front side, here's the other side. Okay, you're in the middle of all that stitching. You're going to draw up a loop, snug it up just a little bit, then yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Remember we did it 1, 2. Now here's the 3rd time. Yarn over through 2. And that creates a treble stitch, which is a long stitch. It's about 1.5 inches long, I believe. So we're going to do this 4 more times. You ready? So finger on that loop, yarn over twice, put your finger on top of all those loops, go through that same placement where we had it before, bring your yarn over and draw up a loop, snug it up. Now yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and yarn over and through 2. Now if you find it super long or not firm enough, remember how you control your yarn through your hand is also going to help in the tension of this stitch. So don't be impatient and don't be frustrated. You can do this, okay? So I got 2 of them done. Now I'm going to go ahead and make 3 more in this same space. Okay? And also remember, push all those stitches to the back so that you're not going over the top of them. But if you do, I'll show you how we're going to go ahead and pull them out. Let's see, so how many do I got here? I got my chain, 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 1 more to do. I want a total of 5. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. Now that my yarn's all bunched up. Okay, so after we have our 5 trebles, we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to go back down into that same stitch. Well, yeah, into that same stitch down here. Okay, and we're going to bring the yarn behind the hook, and then we're going to take the yellow yarn. Okay, so we're going behind the hook, but we're going to bring the yellow yarn over the top and pull it through to complete that chain. Okay, and then pull on that string to snug it up. Okay, I'll show you what we have, but my hook is in the way. But we have our wing right here. So with the tail, or what's our working yarn of the wing, we're going to carry it across because we're going to crochet over the top of it. And let's see, we're going to do 3 single crochets. Okay, so here's our last stitch. So here's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now we can complete that stitch even though we're doing a color change, but I want to show you what the wing looks like. Now it's off kind of wonky looking, but what we're going to do is we're going to twist it, especially when it's done. It'll be, and then we stretch it out like this, and then it'll lay like it's supposed to. Okay, but for right now it's going to do its own thing until we get everything organized. Remember how we have it here? That's from the pulling and stretching, and it'll be fine. Okay, so let's do our other wing. So let's, if you haven't tightened that yellow loop on your hook, bring up your wing color, and let's chain 4. Well, here we pulled the wing. I'm thinking too fast. We pulled the wing color through the yellow loop, so let's tighten the yellow loop up. Okay, so that loop is not big. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we're ready to do our trebles again. 5 in the same spot. So finger on that loop, yarn over twice, okay, and I hope you're not frustrated, because you can always go, you can stop the video and go back. Plus I'm showing you how to do it the second time, and I know you can do this. You just have to be patient, and if you're new to crochet, a lot of times it just takes a little bit of patience and working with the yarn and the hook. Okay, so we got 1 treble done. Yarn over twice in the same stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. I've got 2 trebles completed. Okay, so here's 1, 2, and 3. So I got 3 trebles completed. Yarn over twice. Now, how I go is how I go. So I'm hoping that you can see that I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to show you what it is. I came up with this idea. I don't think I've seen anybody else do it, because I was trying to create everything of no sew. So if somebody else knows how to do it easier, it might be worthwhile to see how they do it. Okay, so what happened here? Okay, here we go. Oh no, I was in the wrong spot. I was too busy talking. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So we want to go back down through here. We want the yarn to come behind. Whoops, the yellow behind. Bring the gray in front. And the yellow over that gray and pull it through and through the loop on the hook. Okay, and then snug everybody up. There we go. Then we should have 1, 2, 3, 4 yellow left. On the 4th yellow, we will be doing a color change to black. So here's 1, 2, 3, and here's our 4th one. So let's cut our yarn, add our black, and we are ready to move on to our next row. But before we move on, let's go ahead and cut our wing yarn till we have about 4 inches there. And we've already connected our black yarn. So let's remove our stitch marker. Now, this row, I'm going to tell you up front, will be challenging because we're going to be going over the wings, but we're adding arms this row. So into our first stitch, remember to pick up your tails and stitch over them. We're going to do our first of 4 single crochet. So here's 1, 2, 3, and on our 4th single crochet, we're going to do a color change. So draw up a loop, and we're going to use the brown with a short tail. Place it on our hook and bring it through those last 2 loops. Okay. So we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to count back 3. 1, 2, 3. And in that 3rd chain, 1 double crochet. So yarn over 1 time, insert our hook into the chain, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. We've added our first one. We need 4 more. So let's place 4 more double crochets into that same space. There's 1, 2, this one's number 3. Here's 4. And here's number 5. Okay, drop a loop and spread this open. Count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in that first stitch, go through the top part of it, pick up your loop, close your loop, and pull the hook through. Okay, bring your work back. We're going to go over the chain, so go underneath it, drop a loop, snug it up there, and complete that single crochet. We're going to do this one more time. But after we pull up our loop, let's bring our brown yarn forward and use our black yarn to finish the last stitch here. There we go. Now let's snug up all these yarns. And on the brown, we're going to cut us a little tail. So did you do that okay? All right, we have a short little arm, and the black will change on that last single crochet over the chain. Now we notice our last stitch is right here, so our next one's going over there. And remember to crochet over the tails so they don't come undone. So here's the first of 1. We're going to use 11. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and on this 11th one we're going to change colors. So don't cut your black, just bring it forward. With a little tail and complete that single crochet stitch. And snug up the black. Okay, so let's chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, in the third chain from the hook, 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Enlarge that loop. Count back 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and into that top loop. You can bring the loop that you enlarged back through it. Then 2 single crochets around the chain. So we're going to go under and around. And pulled up that loop. So here's 1. And on the second one, we're going to change to black. So here we have the 2 loops on our hook. Let's go ahead and pull up the black through it, and that'll complete our stitch. Let's cut our brown yarn. And we're not done with this row yet. Okay, so the brown yarn goes in the back. And over the next 2 or 3 stitches, let's single crochet over them. Okay, so looks like we're going to do 5 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's do 5 single crochet. Okay, let's snug everybody up. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, our next stitch is going to help this wing be the way it's supposed to be. So all the tails should be inside. The wing itself should be out and twisted up. Now you'll see here we have our 5th single crochet. Our 6th one needs to go in here. See, because here's our next single crochet. So we want to come in here. All right. And pull up our loop and complete our single crochet. Okay, so let's pull this loop back over. All right, so you see we've gotten this one, so now we got to come over here to this one. So where that gray line is going down, take your hook and go in between that. It's a little snug for right now, but once we get this row done, you'll see how simple it'll be when it's all said and done. Okay, so here's 1 and 2. Let me make sure we got everybody here. Yeah, that one, and then that one, and that one. Okay, so here's our 3rd one right here. So we want to go over here to this next one, bring all this wing forward, and here's the one that goes down. It'll be so, this row will be so nice when it's done, right? Okay, well, we're almost there. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. On the 4th one, we're going to do our color change. And we're changing to yellow. Let's go ahead and cut that black. Add the yellow. Snug up the black. Everybody's going inside. Now, this row, you're doing basically a lot of stitch differences that you would normally not do in amigurumi. But in this row, we're going to use the front loop only, okay? Now, I think you can see it. There's, let me move my hook out of the way. Okay, there's the front part and the back loop. Okay, so the top you have like a V stitch. So you have this side and that side. Well, this one facing you is considered the front loop. So we're going to take the yellow and we're going to go across in the front loop only all the way around. Okay, so we want to pick up this front loop. 1 single crochet in each front loop around. Now, if you're not sure, here's the single crochet, and right there in between it is the front loop. And I know with this black yarn, it might be a little hard to see, but I think you can do this. So here's a stitch and here's a stitch, and right there is the front loop. Do not pick up the back loop because we're going to need that for the next row. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and here's number 4. And now we're going to go around an arm. Okay, so pull the arm forward. Now right here, see where the arm here stopped? Here's our first single crochet, so right here is that line going across, and that's the one we want to pick up. So there we go. Now in between here, how many is it? 11. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then on the other side, see, we don't have to worry about the wings, so we're just going to go all the way across. Let's see, how many was that? Oh, I didn't write it down. Well, anyway, keep going until you get to the end of the row. When you get to the end of the row, double check your stitch count and make sure that there's 28 stitches. All right, our difficulties are almost done. So let's cut the yellow with a tail. Let's insert the brown to finish off that single crochet. Alrighty, now you're going to cuss me out on this one too, but I'm okay. Now, the black is the row we're going to go into, and we want to use the back loop of the black all the way around. Remembering to have 28 stitches when you're done. So here's the first one, so I'm going to pick up, well, I think I'm going to pick up, right? Here we go. Where's it at? It's always on camera. Maybe my bifocals ain't working right today. What do you think? Anyway, there is a stitch right here, the back loop. Anyway, you find your black back loop, and I'm going to find mine, even if I have to use a needle to help poke it out. Where are you? I think what happened is when I was pulling these tails, I think I might have pulled it a little too tight because it was the beginning of a new row. I bet you that's what I did. Shame on me. Yep, see, because here I loosened it up. Look at that. All right. Okay, so here I'm going to put it in my first one. And complete a single crochet. Okay, and now we're going to go to the second one. Okay, so here's one. So the second one's over here. Well, how easy was that to find? See how easy that was? Okay, so there's two. So the back loop all the way around. Count as you go. You should have 28 at the end of this row. I'll meet you there. Please pause your video. Yeah, I had to get some brighter lights because of the black, but it can be done. I do have 28 single crochets all the way around. Now if you notice, the yellow will come forward and it'll hide all of the black from the row before and kind of give it like a collar look. It's kind of cute. So let's move on to our next row. Okay, so in this row we're going to add a nose. After this will be the last of the color changes, okay? All right, so in our first stitch we're going to do a single crochet Whoops, make sure you pick up both of that first stitch. Okay, I only picked up one part of that. So here's one. Let's place our our stitch marker in there. Here's two. And now we're going to do a decrease. To do a decrease, it's going to be over the next two stitches where we pick up the front loop of those next two stitches. Then yarn over through the two loops, and then yarn over through the two loops on our hook. So this is one repeat. So single crochet, decrease. Let's do that again. Single crochet, and a decrease. All right, and then our next stitch will be our color change. So let's draw up a loop. Do not cut the brown, so bring the brown forward. Let's add our white. Okay, this one we're going to have fun with. Now all of our stitches are going to be going into the next stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch and draw up a loop. Yarn over through two and then stop. We're going to do this sequence 3 more times. Yarn over, insert the hook into the same loop, draw up a loop, yarn over through two and stop. Notice how we have 3 loops on our hook now. Yarn over, yarn over, insert our hook into that same stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over through 2 loops on the hook. Okay, there's 1 and 2. So we should have 4 loops. We're going to do it one more time. Yarn over through 2 loops on the hook and then stop. Drop your your white yarn, pick up your brown, and go through all the loops on the hook. Okay, tighten up the white, and then into the next stitch, single crochet. Try to snug that up. Okay, and then take your finger from behind and push your nose forward. Okay, so we have our nice little nose that sticks out like this. Okay, we can cut our white yarn. And then the 2 whites, you can crochet over those tails for a few stitches and that'll hold it in place. But snug them up. There we go. So we did our 1 single crochet. And in our next 2 stitches, we're going to do a decrease. So 1 in the front loop, and on the next one in the front loop as well. Pull up a loop, yarn over through 2. So 2 single crochet, 1, and in the next stitch 1, and then a decrease. All right, so here's our decrease. 1, 1, decrease, all right, 1, 1, okay, decrease, okay, and then 1 single crochet and a decrease. You should have 21 stitches at the end of this row. And we are definitely moving along. We'll fix the wings here in just a bit. Okay, so for the next 3 rows, 21 stitches around. Now I want to point out there's only one white. You place 1 single crochet in the white, so you got 1, 1, 1. So 21 3 times. Okay, go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. So I have to admit, I took a little break after I did my 3 rows. Well, we are almost done. We have, let's see, 1, 2, maybe 3 more rows left. But first, before we do much of anything else, we have our nose. So now we need to stick on our eyes. So let's get our eyes out. Now we want to count down 2 rows. 1, 2. And right in between, we're going to place them in here. You want 1 row of stitching to show in between. So let's see, I don't know if we need to go, no, that's 2. So there's one eye. And here's my other eye. 1, 2, so we go right here. That's too close. Let's go over 1 more. Okay, so we should have something like this. So remember the cups that I was showing you in the beginning of the video? Well, now we're going to have fun placing these on. Now, these are called kawaii eyes. They do have some eyes where there's just black in the center for the pupil, but these are fun. If you notice on my original one right here, I went ahead and placed it so that they're both looking like they're kind of up this way. So you can make them so that they can go one this way, one this way, this way, whatever you choose to do. I mean, it's a monster, so it's supposed to be kind of fun. You can make them so they both look like they have sad eyes, whatever you want to do. So I'm just going to kind of place mine in here. However they turn out, they turn out. So what we're going to do is we're going to place the cup. We got our backing through the yarn, so we're going to place our cup over it, but I'm not going to be able to punch this through. So we have our safety eye jig. Now I have to stand up, and I'm going to take this and go into that hole there, and I'm going to listen for that thing to make 2 noises, like punch, punch. So 1, 2. And I know that thing ain't going to go nowhere. And you also see how the yarn kind of gathers up around it. So now let's go ahead and do the other side. Let's see. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. We're going to place, okay, remember that little cup right here, the little indent is going to go inside that hole, because when the eye protrudes, or the stem of the eye protrudes out, 1, 2, okay. When it protrudes out, the width of the eye thing allows it to protrude out. Because if you're going to do it on the straight table and push down like this, you'll scratch your eye. You don't want to do that. You've took all this time to make such a cute little plushie. So my eyes are going kind of crazy. These eyes I painted. I do have a YouTube video. I encourage you to go look at it so you can make your own. You can use regular paint, or you can use fingernail polish. Okay, so now that we have these eyes in, we're going to do one more row of 21 stitches. I guess I should have just told you to do 4 rows to begin with. I forgot to take out my stitch marker. And so after we do this one more row, we're going to be doing the row for our ears. But we have to stuff it first. So we're going to do the 21, and then we'll stuff it. So 21 stitches around, and I'll meet you there and have your stuffing ready. Okay, so before we start our stuffing, let's find the center by taking our thing and our monster here and folding it in half. And you'll notice that we're going to have 1, 2, 3 stitches left. So go ahead and remove your stitch marker and single crochet 3 stitches. Do not fasten off. Do not break your yarn. Okay, this is 2 and 3. Okay, enlarge your loop. And let's get some stuffing and start stuffing our monster here. Now, when I stuff, I don't take apart the stuffing and everything like a lot of other people do. I put it in there, and I'm still able to sculpture with it. So let's go ahead and stuff this in here. So go ahead and stuff it all the way up here to this line here. And then when we get to that point, I'll show you what's next. But you want to stuff it so that it's firm, but that the bottom, this oval part right here, is still flat, so he can sit up like so. All right, I know you're ready to sew crochet the last row. I got everything on my mind today. So what I've done is I've stuffed it good, and here's my extra, or I mean up to the top right here. Here's the extra that we're going to put in on the side. And so here I got, let me fix his bottom area here. So he can stand up or sit right here with his little arms out, and he'll be fine. So what we're going to do here is we're going to be going through both the front and the back. We're going to be picking up a stitch here and back here. So we'll be working both sides. Okay, so you want to skip the first stitch because we stopped here. So skip this one and go into the next one. Okay, and this one is the one we finished. So we're going to skip that. We're going to go into the next one. Okay, we're going to pull up and do a slip stitch. Okay, and so since we have this little pucker here, after we do our next stitch, then we can start putting some stuffing in there. Okay, so what we're going to do next is in this stitch and that next stitch right here. Let's go back. yarn over into that next stitch and the next stitch that we from the last one over there. We're going to do a double crochet. So here's one. I'd like for you to do a total of 5 double crochets in the same stitch here. So yarn over, you go through the front one and go through that back one, the same one we just did the first one in. So here's number 2. Okay, here's number 3. Oops, I think I hit my camera. Sorry about that. Did it again. It's my hook. Okay, number 4. And number 5. There we go. Okay. Then in our next stitch, slip stitch. So we're going to pick up the front set and the back set and just do a slip stitch. All right. So here we have one ear. Let's enlarge this loop and add some stuffing under that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and place the rest of this small amount. Kind of spread it out on both sides here. All right, let's pick up our loop and tighten it. Then we're going to do a total of 4 slip stitches. So we did 1. Here's 2. 3. And 4. Okay, so we're going to skip the next stitch, and then in that next stitch 5 double crochets, and then we're going to put a slip stitch in the next stitch. So here, let me pull my camera back a little bit more. Okay, I think that'll work. So skip your next stitch and then 5 double crochets into that next stitch. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, skip your next stitch and slip stitch in that last stitch. All right, leave yourself a little tail so that we can, yes, we're going to stitch a little so that way we can finish this off properly. Okay, so here's our ears. Cute, huh? Okay, let's thread our needle. I like to fold the yarn over the needle because sometimes it'll shred right here. So I'm going to go in behind here. I want to lock this in, so I'm going to pick up behind a stitch and do an overhand knot. And tighten it, and then to make sure that it doesn't wiggle its way out, I'm going to go in between some set of stitches here. And then stretch it, and then cut it. Okay, so here's Here's the bear bee. Now let's go ahead and fix his wings. So turn him to the side, grab the top and the bottom, and stretch and pull. Stretch and pull. And then pull him over to the side. Okay, see how it's staying? So let's do the same thing over here. Stretch and pull. Okay, so here's our little bear bee wings. The only thing left that we're going to do is place an expression on his face. So let's get some black yarn so we can add eyebrows, nose, and a mouth. So we're going to come in from the back side so that way we can tie the knot off. And I'm going to come in over here just one stitch away on the outside of the eye. When you pull it through, leave it so that you have a tail that's about 2 inches long. Then come across. I'm going to go up and over to here. And I'm going to bring my needle back 2 stitches. And what we're doing is we're placing an eyebrow, and because the stitch is kind of long, I'm going to use this as a tacking stitch just to go over and under. And then we're going to come over here on the other side. You see how that holds it down? Because if it's too long, you can pull it and it'll actually distort itself. So we're going to come over here and we're going to go down a row. But we're going to come back over here so that we can go up, go over that yarn, and we're going to come down here. Now, we're not going to go into the exact location because of the cup behind won't allow us to pick up where we need to pick up, but we can put the needle where we need to. So we're going to go back into that same hole, but come over one. There we go. So let's add our nose. We're going to go down. Okay. I'm not going straight down, but I'm coming down and I'm putting the needle in over here on the side. And then I'm going to come up here on the other side. So what I'm going to do is as it's coming down, oh, I must have put it, it must have slid over. Yeah. Okay, well, we're still good. It's a monster, right? We can create whatever face we want. So here we'll come up. There we go. So I'm going to come over here, bring it. I guess I should have went up a little higher, huh? Okay, well, so I went back into the hole on the other side of the face. And what I'm going to do is with this hole, I'm just going to kind of like extend the smile. And so I'll come back over here into that same hole that I came out over there. And just bring that smile across. And since we have the line in the middle, I'm going to go underneath as well. Yeah, it gives us our own little look. Okay. And then I'm trying to get the needle to come out through the back. And I know I'm not going to be able to get it in the right spot. Oh, it was close. Oh. Okay, Okay, make sure everything is snug up front here. And, well, that's something. I came out through the right spot. And we're going to cut this off. Tie it up. And then take our crochet hook and bury our stitch. I just grabbed a crochet hook from my cup of hooks, but I could have used my other one. Okay. And that's how we buried it. And then let's fix our wings. I messed them up. Okay. So here we go. Here's our little bear bee potato monster. What do you think? You like him? I hope so. Well, our little bear bee friends hope that you had a good time creating the bear bee today. And this is part of the potato monster family. Hope you come back and see me again. I enjoy having you here. Here we got our painted safety eyes and our popcorn feet. Whoops. I guess playing with feet, he had to fall over, right? So, thank you for being with me. I hope you had fun. I hope you make many of them and share them with me. My name is Garnet. So, have a great day. Bye-bye.